In today's video, we are going to go over potential card concepts for Blocktails. Keep in mind, none of these are made by me, as I'm simply just showcasing them, and all the artists who made these cards will be credited when the cards show up in the video. And yes, I did make sure to ask the artist before I put these card concepts in the video, so don't worry. Okay, so the first card concepts I'm going to be shown are made by Alo AJ on Discord. Thank you to them for letting me showcase them. This card is called Comedy, and it's a strategy type card. It costs 4 build points to have in your deck and costs 7 special points to use in battle. This card lowers the enemy's team defense with a fun joke based on how well you're doing. For example, you would lower the enemy's defense by -1 for 2 turns if you aren't in danger, but if you are in danger, this card then lowers the enemy's defense by -2, but it negates any healing for 2 turns. I can see this card being good for like support builds and in the beginning of boss battles or pit floor levels, but it does seem a little too risky to run if you're low on health. So this could be a very situational / good card depending on how and where you use it. Alright, so the next card is called Tragedy. This is a passive type card which costs 2 build points to have in your deck, and what it does is when you are in critical condition / mortal damage taken, you gain 2 plus attack and slow down your HP's countdown process by 60%. And it also gives you -1 defense. This card is very situational like the one before. It's pretty okay. I can see this card becoming good for like solo runs, especially if you have a card like Resurrect or if you have a teammate with Resurrect and healing capabilities. Overall, it's a pretty good card. Now the next card is called Taunt. This card is an ability type card which costs 1 battle point to have in your deck and 2 special points to use in battle. What it does is it taunts all enemies and enrages them to target you specifically for 2 turns, and using this card gives you +1 defense for 2 turns. I think this card can be very good with a tank type of playstyle, especially paired with Thorns and like, let's say 2 Cures, where you mostly just tank and do damage while you tank and then immediately heal. I think it can be a pretty good card, if used correctly of course. This card is called Healthy Fit. It's a passive type card and costs 2 build points, and what it does basically is after every battle you recover an extra 2 HP and 2 SP. I think this card is very basic, but basic doesn't mean bad, and I think it's a very good card overall. I can see it becoming mostly useful for mostly pit runs, honestly. Alright, now the final card concept by Alo AJ is called Cherup, and what this card does is it's an ability type card that costs 3 build points to have in your deck and 6 special points to use in battle. And when this card is used, everyone in your team excluding you recovers 3 special points, and everyone in your team excluding you gets a 1 attack buff for 3 turns. If a teammate has a negative effect, it lowers its turn count by 1, and after using this card, you receive a -2 defense debuff for the next 3 turns. I think this card is very overpowered and would need like some type of nerf or something before ever going into Blocktails. And I think it's a very good card for like support builds or healer builds and would be very good in pit floors. Alright, and the next card concept about to be shown was made by Rico on Discord. Thank you for letting me showcase this card. Now, what this card is called Shellshock, and it's a passive type card, and what it does is it gives you 1+1 super guard counter damage and deals 1 damage when an enemy hits you with a melee attack. When the enemy hits you, this card applies a shock status to an enemy for 2 turns, which has a chance of missing / canceling a turn, and this card costs 3 build points to have in your deck, and I think this can be really good for like mostly a tank build, maybe a healer build if you suck at dodging like I do, but yeah. Now, the next 2 cards are made by the Underverse on Discord. Thank you for letting me showcase these cards, and the first card is called Vengeance. It's a passive type card that costs 4 build points to use in your deck, and what it does is when one of your teammates dies, you get a +1 attack buff. However, you would also get a -1 defense debuff. However, if your teammate died while using Sacrifice, you wouldn't get the defense debuff, and if your defense goes down by 2 while using this card, you won't be able to use items for the rest of the fight. I think it's an okay card concept. I think that no items part is a little bit harsh, but I can still see it becoming useful for maybe like some clutch moments or last one standing in the pit or something. The next card concept made by the Underverse is called Blood Oath. This card costs 3 build points to use in your deck, and what it does basically is it upgrades Sacrifice, and Sacrifice now heals your teammates by 7 HP instead of 5 HP. but now it would also damage you by 6 HP. Sacrifice would now give all your allies +1 defense buff for 3 turns, as well as yourself losing 1 defense for 2 turns. I think this card would be a good card, especially if one of your teammates uses Ice Dagger, and doing this combo make your teammates get a huge buff in HP overall. Now this card is a weapon type card, which is called the Scythe, and this card costs 0 build points to use, as this is a weapon card. Now this weapon can't hit flying enemies and can only target the first enemy, but it can hit the second enemy if they aren't flying, and it will only deal 1 less damage than it did to the first enemy. The second target doesn't require an action command, and using this weapon card would also remove your ball weapon option, and you would heal 1 HP every time you hit an enemy with this weapon card. I think it's a pretty cool weapon card, and I think it could fit for like maybe chapter 3, since chapter 3 is the Haunted Mansion. Now unfortunately that was the last card concept for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I put a lot of effort, and I think all these card concepts are amazing. I didn't make any of these card concepts. These were all made by the amazing artists mentioned in this video. And if I were to pick a favorite between the card concepts, it would either be between Taunt or Blood Oath. And that's because I really want like a Taunt type of card, so I can use it with Thorns and just go full on tank mode. And Blood Oath would be really good because I really like Sacrifice. I think when a double Sacrifice card gets added, it's going to be huge. And yeah. If you guys want another card concept video, I'm happy to make one. I'm down to make one, and I'm down to make another card concept video like this in the future. I kind of want to make like a theory video for chapter 3 and what it could be and what we have in store. And I want to know your guys' favorite concept cards.